Take us back. I want to know, you mentioned starting as a kid. Do you remember what was the first thing you ever did as a child where you were on stage? What was your first performance ever?
It's only while I was doing at school. I don't remember my junior kindergarten, but it is in my fifth, sixth grade in Sri Lanka. So I always take part in this cultural festivals that happens every year, the celebration at schools every year. And one performance is that I dressed up like a nun. I studied at a convent. So our principal was a nun, and I took part in that. And each one of us dressed as representing one of the nuns from school, and I represented one nun, and we were on the stage, we were dancing, we pretended like them, we kind of threw a little skit. So that's what's very vivid in my head. But I also was part of. I grew up in a Catholic church, so I was a part of. The festivals, the Christmas, all these Christmas shows, yeah, you might call them. So part of all those dramas plays at church. So from childhood, it's always like, and I love to write poetry. I do participate in those speech competitions, but all in my native language. So for us in Sri Lanka, it's English, just one language, but we don't learn much English. We just, again, speak in our native language. So all that is I was doing in my native language in Sri Lanka. And when I was about 15 years old, I migrated with my parents. Entire family came here. So it was quite a bit of cultural shock and no language. I don't know any language. And I mean, I couldn't speak English, and it was quite a cultural shock. So I had to kind of go through all of that. Started off with my ESL, English as a second language. And so I remember first time I wanted to do what I was deciding what I wanted to do at university, and two things was in my mind that I couldn't I was not better in English. So at the time I thought I need to pick a subject that is more math oriented, so I don't need to write anything. And I was thinking, because you become when you come as an immigrant, the financial situation is bit unstable, and so you got to kind of find a job that pays you well and you could make money. So those are the two things were determinants at the time to find to what I want to do at university. So I ended up doing software engineering at UFT. That was my first degree. And I worked about a year. I got bored out of it, and I said I want to do social work. I want to do something to deal with people because I'm a talker and I love to be with people. So I said I want to do social work. So about in a 2 years time, I started doing some volunteer work because I didn't have anything in my resume for social work. And after in 2 years, I applied and I got a fast track program at Thunder Bay, Lakehead University. So for 1 year. By the time we moved to Stratford, myself and my husband. And then, so after I finished my Thunder Bay degree in social work, I directly moved to Stratford, and I started working at a legal clinic here as an intern. Then I started working as a full-time staff at Canadian Mental Health Association. So I was working there for 3 years, helping clients dealing with mental health concerns and addiction concerns, and I was doing all that. And then all of a sudden, again, I got bored, and I said, "We want to do a small trip to India." So I never been to India. That was the first time going to India. Went to India. I took about 6 months leave off from work. We went to India. But India, it's huge when it comes to the film industry. It's huge, and so we always kind of look up to that and they also have they also kind of speak the similar language that I speak. So there are a lot of the commonality. So when I went there as a visitor, I went there as a visitor for about to stay there for about 3 months and tour, but my heart still was saying I wanted to do some learning in acting. So mm, being there, I started taking like a 1 month course on acting. And then that led to me doing a first time in India doing a stage play for a festival. And in India and Sri Lanka, they do stage plays in open space. I'm not sure about here, but there they do it even for festivals, like Hindu festivals, they do stage plays. So I took part in that stage play, playing a main character. And this is like people who never knew me, and it just I'm like only 1 month in India, and said, they said like let's do this, and I did that, and then I vowed to come back. And I was thinking, because my heart is always like about acting, and that's what I really keep close to my heart. So I couldn't leave India, and I said, let's just stay back for a year, and I will explore whatever I can, and then I'll come back to Canada. So I sent my husband back home, and then I stayed back. And I said, it's just 1 year, and I'll be back. And I promise. And I started joining theater groups and theater groups. I joined theater groups, and I started doing theater. I traveled India, and I started doing films. And then I didn't come back until last end of sorry mid 2020. So for 5 years I stayed back in India. That 1 year kind of changed into 5 years. But while I was doing that, I was doing some films, and I was doing a lot of theater. And uh, and then I came back in 2020 because of the pandemic. So that's my Indian trip. But then after coming here, but one thing happened in India is that, so I quit my job here. I sent a notification to my employer here at CMHA saying I'm no longer, I would come back and join. But one thing in India taught me, they were mentors, and they kind of helped me as well, to think about acting not just as a gig on a television. It's not just earning money. It's about a lifestyle. One of my mentors also used to tell me, actors, you have to live your life as actors. It's your lifestyle. It's something that you have to make change in every parts of your life. You have to become politically conscious, you have to become socially conscious, and you have to become you're conscious about your body, about your voice, and everything. And so when I came back, that sort of gave me a foundation to say what I need to continue this on a full-time basis. No more going back to social work. So when I came back, that's and I joined Tom Toro's Saturday's workshop while from India. So that's why I joined. So every day there, when I started off, it will be 2 a.m. for me.
Wow.
Oh.
And I will stay up for those 5 hours, and I go to bed. So I started off with him, and that was another blessing, because with Tom, I always say he did not just teach us about craft. He taught us again about actors and your moral responsibilities. And he gave me reminded me that when I came back to Canada, I wasn't sure what to do, and I wasn't sure if I'm going to go back. And it was so much anxiety, and like we always wanted things happen so fast. My friends were saying, why don't you just get some clipping from your work from India and send them to the agencies? But Tom reminded me that be patient, and first impression is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
He reminded me, just take it slow. So with that advice, I said, I'm not going to reach out to the agencies at least for a year. I'm just going to train myself and slowly build my work, and then I will reach out to the agencies. So I was taking classes from various places, as well as from Tom as well, trying to see which fits for me. Because, and also I was looking at I was evaluating myself, like where I need to improve the most, and who will give me that something that I need to improve on. So I was doing a lot of sussing out, and then after a year, kind of built my foundation. I started applying to agencies. I don't know if Lars remember, some of the clippings I send in my show reel were recorded with you from Laughing Vikings.
Right.
So we started off recording scenes not for the auditions, for my show reel.
To get the agent. Right.
Yeah, to get the agent. Yeah,
Right.
to get the agent. So that's how we started off. Yeah. So from the classes, I chose materials that fit me, and I wanted to build a proper show reel. And then I applied. And again, the other good when I was applying for agencies, I was doing a lot of research. And one of the advice I got, the greatest advice is, don't send a bulk emails to all the agencies. They
Right.
said research the agency and send an individual emails to every agent
Right.
and tell them why you like them. So I was doing that. That really worked because I in a month I got represented by Premier Artist Manager because I did my homework and I was sending it individually with my profile. Um, yeah, and then it's been almost a year and a couple of months, and I booked about three commercials and about three TV shows.
Wow.
Yeah,
Killing it.
so that's in about a year. So
What a journey.
starting from nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Congrats. Congrats. I love your story. Thank you for being so detailed with everything there as well and your history. A couple things I want to unpack. First of
Yeah.
all, I'm wondering, did you originate Whoopi Goldberg's role in Sister Act? Were you guys doing Sister Act there? Um,
No,
and
but I remember. Yes.
And the other thing too is we have a little similarity. I was also raised in Catholic. I went to elementary school, was Catholic school for me. And my aunt, I have an aunt. She's no longer with us, but she was a Catholic nun,
Okay.
but Irish Catholic. So she was always a bit of a party nun, and she liked her rum as well. So
Oh,
she was like, she'd be like, her name was Kathleen. So it'd be like, oh, Sister Kathleen getting into the nun rum. She was great. She was a lot of fun,
that's
and
fun. That's fun.
yeah,
Unfortunately, my nuns they were like very very strict.
yeah, they weren't as strict. They were like party nuns by this time. So, and the other thing I love too, and kudos to you for. So many people have these ideas and they get these little whisperings in their head about following their dreams and doing all these things, and they don't follow them. Like the fact that you left the job, the fact that you moved from Canada to India, the fact that you made those connections and were in something like you'd been there a month as a foreigner, and all of a sudden you're playing roles in India, and then to have the bravery and courage, not only in your own life but in your marriage as well, to say, "Hey, this is what I'm being called to do. I feel like I need to stay here for a little bit." And having the trust in your husband and the faith that, okay, you can go home and we're going to be okay. That's huge. Like the fact that like those years, and you think about like, I guess 2 years, 3 years ago versus now, it's like you're living an entirely different life. And that's such a huge inspiration, hopefully, to people listening. And even if it's not people, like it doesn't have to be specifically acting, but to all the people out here who are thinking, oh, there's something more for me in my life, or there's something that I've always wanted to do. I love stories like yours because that inspires. And you never know, there's might be one person listening today that is like, you know what, Jereen, I'm going to do that too. Fuck it. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move to India. I'm going to follow my passion. It's just such a huge example. And it's a big reason for me too, that it's a big reason that I'm in the acting world. And it's one of my favorite things about being an actor and being a stand-up comedian is because I get to tell that story. For me, it was leaving a corporate job later in life. I didn't start till I was 30, 31 years old after a 10-year corporate career. And I think that's one of the great just the great things about artists in general is artists have the courage to follow that artistic passion, and to a certain degree just set aside the societal norms of, oh, you need to get a good job. And especially for you being an immigrant, often the immigrant story is of immigrant parents saying, hey, we busted our asses to get here to create a better life for you. You need to go get a job, get a high paying job, focus on your career, focus on your income. And sometimes because of the necessities of life and wanting to build that better lifestyle, especially financially, it's tough for children of immigrant parents to break free of that and to let them or to give your parents the opportunity to just be like, hey, listen to me, trust me, this is all going to work out, don't worry about it. But I mean, you obviously followed their path in the beginning enough to get your degree and to get a job, and then you realized, okay, now it's my life. So all that to say, kudos to you. You made some bold life choices, and it's paying off for you now too. You're auditioning regularly for TV and
Yeah.
film. Casting directors here in Canada know you. You're booking roles with different casting directors. I'm sure your agency is thrilled with you. So yeah, you're just such a great success story. So we love you. I can't say enough about you.